I found out my 12-year-old sister took my stuff and spent $700 on my credit card. When I told my parents, they took her side, so I called the police. My sister has a constant desire to keep up with her friends, who all have the latest gadgets and trendy items. She looks up to beauty bloggers and YouTubers and longs for the things they showcase. Our parents are very wealthy but strict. They reward us with gifts for good grades. Despite her grades slipping to C's this year, she asked for an iPhone, which we of course denied. Around September or October, I started noticing that my makeup and shoes were disappearing. We wear the same size and the makeup items were popular cult favorites. One evening, I set up a camera before going to work and, when I checked the footage, I saw her taking things from my drawers and using my vanity. I figured she's 12 and curious about makeup, so I decided to give her some items I never used and a fair amount of makeup for her birthday. My other sister and I, who doesn't live with us, pooled together for a Sephora gift card, hoping she'd stop taking my things. It seemed to work as nothing has gone missing since. I monitored the camera for about a month and only saw her in my room briefly to fetch the dog, so I thought everything was fine. Recently, however, she's been getting packages from Amazon, including Sims games and a Netflix subscription. She claimed she was winning all these things, and despite my questions, she wouldn't admit where she got them from. Eventually, I decided to let it go. About 2 weeks ago, our desktop computer was wiped clean. When I checked the system recovery files, I saw that a system file reset had occurred at 11:30 a.m. on a Thursday. My mom and I confirmed that everything was deleted. That evening, I noticed my sister on the computer just before I left for work. We suspect she was responsible, but she refused to admit anything. Today, I received my MasterCard bill, and it was shockingly high. Aside from a $78 yoga pass and a $10 eBay purchase, there were numerous charges for Origin, Netflix, and Amazon, totaling $700. At first, I thought my card information had been stolen, but all the purchases matched items she had: Origin, Canada, Netflix, Amazon, and one eBay purchase. I'm at a loss about what to do. My parents are extremely strict, and I know I need to tell them, but I'm worried they'll react harshly. I'm starting to think she might have a serious problem. I have the funds to pay off the card, but I don't want to. I want to recover the losses, but I'm not sure how to get refunds for services like Netflix. I've already called to cancel the card, but I'm unsure what steps to take next. Update 1. Hi everyone, thanks for your advice and support. I wanted to clarify a few points that came up in the comments. I had to confront her when she stole from me last time. I thought that by helping her get what she wants through legitimate means, things would improve, but we ended up having a serious fight about it. I realize now that I made a big mistake. My parents were strict with me, so I considered their level of strictness as normal, but for her, it seems like they completely disengage. I've become more of a parental figure to her. My older sister is involved more than my parents, but not as much as she should be. I've been thinking about locking my door, but it's where the dog stays, and he needs to go outside sometimes, so I'm hesitant. However, I have decided to order a nanny cam for my bedroom, and I'm still considering the lock. Last night, I came home from work to find my parents and sister already in bed, so I decided to wait until morning to address the issue. But I heard giggling from my sister's room, so I decided to confront her before talking to my parents. She completely denied everything. I showed her the printed credit card statement, but she insisted it wasn't her and that she didn't do it. I'm the one with the mail key since we have a community mailbox, so I've been taking in her Amazon packages. The packages were from the marketplace, and some of them had prices listed for customs, which matched the amounts on my credit card statement. My dad has a key to the mailbox too, so he might have collected the packages I missed, which is why I hadn't realized the extent of the problem. I also pointed out the Netflix charge to her. She claimed she was using my other sister's Netflix account. Since my other sister lives 2 hours behind us, I texted her immediately, and she told me she no longer has Netflix because it was interfering with her doctorate work. My younger sister lied, insisting she was still using it. I gave her one last chance to admit the truth to me, threatening to involve our parents and call the cops if she didn't. She still refused. I even started to doubt myself, wondering if she really did it. As I reviewed the charges, I realized she would have needed an Amazon account. I had set up her email address years ago, and if she forgot her password, my email was the recovery address. I reset her password through my email and discovered she had charged $700 in the last billing cycle. Additionally, she had bought 2 more items from Amazon yesterday: an iTunes receipt, a purchase from the Sims resource, and a Club Penguin membership. I found old order receipts too. I reset her Amazon password and canceled the new orders she placed. I emailed Club Penguin and Netflix to explain that my sister is a minor and was not authorized to make the purchases. Club Penguin was very responsive and reversed the charges for me, likely because they deal with this issue frequently. Netflix has not responded yet. This morning I spoke with my parents. They offered to cover the charges, but I insisted that wasn't the point. I want my sister to understand the consequences of her actions. They dismissed my concerns, so I told them that I would no longer take responsibility for managing my sister's behavior. I made it clear that if they chose to ignore this, I would be moving my grad school applications out of province. This seemed to hit a nerve because my older sister had also left due to their strictness. They decided to talk to her, but I had to walk my dog and don't know what was said. It seems there have been no real consequences, as she's still holed up in her room, looking perfectly fine. My dad transferred the amount to my bank account, so it appears they still don't take this seriously. The card payment is due on August 27th, so I have some time to figure it out. I talked to my boyfriend, who has contacts in the police force, and among paramedics who work with the DARE program, so he's going to try to reach out to one of them for advice. My older sister is planning to visit next Tuesday, so we're coordinating the police visit for that day. She was shocked when she heard what happened, and when I mentioned the possibility of moving my NSC out of province, she offered to host me and even said I could bring my dog. That's definitely something I'm considering. Update 2. My boyfriend contacted a cop he knows, who then referred him to another officer. The cop will come over on Tuesday afternoon, after my sister and brother-in-law arrive. The plan is for the officer to talk to my sister first, and then my boyfriend will take her to the army offices near the police headquarters for a tour. We decided to do the tour second, hoping she might be more cooperative after the police visit. My sister and I are also planning to discuss finding her a volunteer placement with our parents. My older sister suggested that she might need some perspective, realizing that not having that game isn't the end of the world, and some impactful scenarios might help get that through to her. I've also reached out to one of my cousins, whom my younger sister admires, and she will talk to her too. The plan is to have a more intervention-style approach when the cops arrive. I just spoke with the cop on the phone a few minutes ago, and he mentioned that this isn't the first time he's handled a situation like this. He's confident he can provide the necessary guidance and has a lot of experience with cases like mine. He often refers kids to counselors, and if my sister is open to it, he can make a referral for us as well. Everyone has been incredibly supportive. I've decided not to press charges at this point. I know many of you are strongly criticizing my sister, and she does deserve it. I might show her these threads, but she is still my sister. And she's only 12. My older sister and I have practically raised her, and we don't want to turn her into someone with a criminal record, even though, yes, she deserves the consequences. Right now, we have an opportunity to help her rehabilitate rather than write her off. If I leave and she has no chance with my parents, I would still feel partly responsible if she goes down the wrong path and I didn't try to help. This house is as much mine as it is hers. As you all have pointed out, our parents are very strict, and while I can't change their ways, I can try to get her out of here. But that's only possible if she agrees to make changes. If she doesn't, then the best option might be for me to leave because I also want to have a life. Update: my boyfriend contacted a cop he knows who referred him to another officer. The cop will be coming over Tuesday afternoon, after my sister and brother-in-law arrive. After he talks to my sister, my boyfriend plans to take her to the army offices near the police headquarters for a tour. We decided to do that part second, hoping she might be more cooperative after meeting with the officer. My sister and I are also planning to discuss finding her a volunteer placement with our parents. My older sister suggested that she might need some perspective, realizing that not owning that game isn't the end of the world, and that some impactful scenarios might help drive that point home. I reached out to one of my cousins, whom my younger sister really admires, and she will come to talk to my sister too. The plan is to approach this intervention style. I spoke with the cop on the phone a few minutes ago, and he assured me that this isn't his first time dealing with such cases. He has a lot of experience and knows how to handle these situations. He mentioned that he often refers kids to counselors, and if my sister is willing, he can make a referral for us as well. Everyone has been incredibly supportive, and I'm feeling more hopeful about finding a solution. I've decided not to press charges yet. I understand that many of you are upset with my sister, and she does deserve some consequences. I might show her these threads, but she is still my sister, and she's only 12. My older sister and I have essentially raised her, and we don't want to end up with her having a criminal record, even though she certainly deserves some accountability. Right now, we have an opportunity to rehabilitate her rather than writing her off. If I leave and she has no chance with my parents, I'd still feel partly responsible if she goes down the wrong path and I didn't try to help. This house is as much mine as it is hers. As you've noted, our parents are very strict, and while I can't change their ways, I will try to get her out of here if she agrees to make changes. If she doesn't, then the best option might be for me to leave because I want to have a life too. Final update. Hi everyone, thanks for your patience and for the many PMs asking if everything is okay. I work evening and overnight shifts, so I was basically knocked out until now. Just to clarify a few points, I am technically financially independent of my parents. I've been working since I was 14 and haven't spent much on fun things, so I have saved up a lot of money. I also earn about $30 per hour now. However, after everything I've been through with my parents and my academic struggles, I felt I deserved to have my tuition covered by them. I'm hesitant about involving the cops with my parents because my dad is a conspiracy theorist. He once refused to buy milk for a year, claiming that farmers were drugging it to weaken our bones, making us dependent on their more expensive, calcium-fortified milk. Anyway, I spent most of the weekend ignoring my sister and family, just going to work and staying at my boyfriend's place. Yesterday, I got out around 8 to pick up my sister and Bill. We talked about the situation and Bill, who is a neuropsychologist, offered some insights similar to what many of you suggested. The consensus was that we should leave our parents, but only if my younger sister cooperated. Today, that was the major sticking point. My older sister mentioned that when my younger sister turns 14, we could start applying for guardianship and moving her and me to my older sister's province. Given our parents' age and history of abuse, my sister believes we might have a solid case. She has already consulted with a lawyer. We had a very emotional talk about how all my older sister wants is to get both of us out of there. My older sister would have acted much sooner if she had known the full extent of the problems. I hadn't shared much about my younger sister's attitude issues and my parents' detachment because my older sister is busy with work and grad school, and I didn't want to burden her. She said the hardest thing she's ever done was leaving me and my younger sister in that house. I reminded her that she was 21 when she left, and we didn't expect her to save us. Plus, she hadn't met Bill yet and wasn't making much money, so it would have been incredibly difficult for her. When we arrived at the house, my Bill and sister briefly greeted my younger sister before going to play with my dog. My cousin called the home phone, and we let my younger sister answer. She mentioned she was coming over with her dog for a playdate, which worked perfectly to get my sister out of her room. My cousin lives about 15 minutes away, so she was there within half an hour. We put the dogs outside and watched them play until we heard the doorbell. I sent my younger sister to answer it, and she started crying as soon as she saw the cop. The police were very kind. He sat down with everyone in the room and immediately reassured her that he wasn't there to get her in trouble, but just wanted to talk. The cop even had a poster board set up and started talking about a few girls he had known who had gotten involved in similar situations. The stories were quite sad and echoed many of the ones you all mentioned in the comments. My cousin shared how hard it was to watch me and my older sister growing up, but we did our best to create a better life for her. She reassured my younger sister that she isn't a bad person, even if she feels that way because of my anger towards her. However, she emphasized that the lying has to stop. Kids who lie grow up to be adults who lie, and adults who lie don't live good lives. I talked to her about how all those videos she watches and celebrities she idolizes work extremely hard for their success. Sure, they might get some things for free, but success always comes with a price. I reminded her that she's only 12 and has plenty of time to be successful, but people who steal don't get to have the same opportunities. I pointed out that her favorite singer, Ariana Grande, had apologized for past mistakes, and now people have mostly forgotten, showing that it's possible to move past mistakes. I told her that my older sister and Bill had made her a deal. If she gets a 3.5 GPA in her first year of high school, which shouldn't be too hard since it's not an academically rigorous school, she can come live with me and my older sister after I graduate with my BA. My older sister even showed her printouts of the house they're planning to buy, so we can all live there together. They have 3 dogs and much more freedom than we do at this house. The cop explained that not everyone gets a chance to make things right. He pointed to his poster board, which in retrospect was pretty amusing, and asked if she wanted to be like those girls. My little sister was still crying, but she eventually came over to me, hugged me, and apologized. She didn't make any excuses or say anything other than she was sorry for what she did. And that was good enough for me. After my cousin and the policeman left, he provided us with a referral. However, Bill has a few colleagues who could potentially offer better support, and he plans to speak with them. At least we have options for someone she can talk to without feeling judged. I then texted my boyfriend and asked him to take her to the Army HQ this weekend, as I didn't want her to feel too overwhelmed today. Last night, we put together a plan before I went to work. She is going to walk and feed my dog every other day until it snows as a way to pay me back. She will also start doing her own laundry this weekend. We're going to get her a bus pass, and I'm going to teach her how to navigate transit to get to her school. I did this at her age, and it's time she learned. She will start studying with me during the school year. I go to the library and she will come with me. The university shouldn't mind as I see students studying with their younger siblings all the time. If her grades improve by her first report card, I'll discuss with my parents about getting her something nice. However, any misbehavior, no exceptions, will result in the deal being off. She will also hand over all her passwords and passcodes to me. I'll have the right to check her devices whenever I want. If she shows improvement, we're planning to visit my sister over winter break for a sister trip. My sister offered to pay for the tickets, but only if my younger sister's attitude improves. Bill has outlined the attitude improvements we expect. No more lying, period. If she's upset, she has to talk to me first before reacting. She needs to follow instructions without exception and show me all her homework at the beginning of the week so I can check on it. We're also going to start journaling. I used to share things with my older sister through journaling, and I still use that method to talk about upsetting things with my boyfriend. I went through her computer and found lots of story files, so I got her a little journal for $5 from Walmart. I think it'll help her sort out her feelings before she lies, cries, and acts out. Bill is calling his friends later today. Maybe this is overly optimistic, but this is our chance. If it fails, but she's my baby sister. I can't just let her go. Thanks, Reddit, for all your help and concern. If, in 4 months, things aren't working out, I'll let you know. If you don't hear from us, we're probably living it up with my sister's 3 dogs. Now, on to the next story. Caught my GF cheating with my childhood best friend. My ex 22F cheated on me 21M with my childhood best friend 21M. Here's how I lost the love of my life, C, and my best friend, J, all in one day. It all started when I met C in grade 5. I had a crush on her for years but never gathered the courage to talk to her as I was still figuring out these feelings. Plus, I knew I was an introvert from the beginning with barely any real friends, just a small group of 4, one of them being my best friend, J. We did everything a kid could do together: camping, something I didn't like but was fun with him, playing video games, board games, sleepovers, all those things. I thought of him as a brother. It was Jay who had the courage to add C to our friend group. As we got older, we all grew closer. By grade 9, I was starting to get closer to C as friends. During high school, when we were both in grade 10, I finally gathered the courage to ask C out. To my surprise and happiness, she said yes. Our first date was amazing. I took her to her favorite restaurant, which wasn't very expensive but had a sizable bill. Then we went skating, something she's always loved, and that night became one of my best memories. Over the next 4 years, we had what I thought was the best relationship. It was only during year 3 that C wanted to take things to the next level, and so did I, but I was so nervous about it that I never realized what was happening between my girlfriend and my best friend until it was too late. I was also stressed from my studies and didn't have enough time to spend with her. Everything came to a screeching halt when I not only passed my exams but also felt less nervous about the idea of being intimate. I walked to her apartment to share the great news, but that's when everything fell apart. I entered the elevator to go to her floor and walked to her door, which I noticed was slightly open. In a panic, I opened it myself, thinking she might be in trouble, but found nothing out of the ordinary. I wandered around the apartment, and eventually, I noticed a trail of clothes leading to her bedroom door. If that wasn't obvious enough, the moans and screams of pleasure were. Then I spotted a jacket on the ground, the same one I had given Jay for his 18th birthday. Seeing that, I saw only red. I barged into the room where both of them were shocked by my interruption. But C soon screamed in terror as I pulled Jay off her and started beating him. I was never a violent person growing up, but the rage and betrayal I felt turned me into someone I hope I never become again. It's been 2 weeks since I caught Jay and C together, and I've been ignoring every message, call, and voicemail they've sent, as well as their family's attempts to get me to speak to them. I can't stand being in the same room with them anymore. Every time I think of them, I remember that day I caught them. I'm looking for advice on what I should do next because I'm at a loss.